So hi again. I wasn't going to do this one tonight. I was going to wait till tomorrow because currently it's 11:25. It's fairly late, and I normally do these at night, as you can probably tell by the dark background. I kind of like how it looks in the camera, if I'm being honest. That's one of the reasons I do them so late. But I wasn't planning to do this one yet. I was planning to do a video this week because I'm enjoying keeping to this sort of structure. Even if I have already messed up my timetable schedule by releasing the last one on Monday, and this one's probably going to go up on Saturday, so I'm doing a great job with keeping the structure together. But I really felt a call to talk about something very important to me, and if you've watched any of the other videos, if you haven't, please do. Please. Something that's very important to me is mental health. And especially in lockdown, it's something I've gone on about over and over again. It's very important to not only look after yourself, but look after your friends who also struggle with these sort of things like depression and anxiety, because it's quite a scary time. But this one's going to be a bit different in topic in terms of, as opposed to the last two have been, the first one was more checking in on your friends who are struggling, which I still think is very important, and please still do. And the other was, the idea of there'll be pain in the night, joy comes in the morning. What do we do during the night, during that time of struggle? This one, I want it to be a call to say, look, I don't know who's watching this, and if you are, thank you, I appreciate it, and I hope these are blessing you in some way. But this one is something I struggle with, and I've always struggled with, is asking for help. And anyone who knew me during my time in Watford knows that. They know I was very hit or miss when it came to asking for help. And that's still one of my biggest regrets, is because I loved it there, I absolutely loved my time there, and I met some incredible people, and I didn't exactly, give the best account of myself in that, because I wasn't in the right sort of mental place, where now I feel like I'm a lot more, put together is the wrong word, I'm a lot more competent of dealing with my episodes, because they still happen, I'm not making these because I'm all the way through the other side, because that's the thing about mental illness, it doesn't really go away. It's always there at the back of your mind, and every day feels like a fight. And it is, in a way. And we have so many obstacles to overcome in everyday life, let alone being, depressed on top of that before this happened, where it's a lot more common now, because you would be, wouldn't you, if you're shut in all day, every day, apart from one walk. It gets to you. But the thing I wanted to really focus on today is, it's not weakness to ask for help. It's very difficult, but I think there's a common thought process that it's a sign of you're not strong enough if you have to ask for help, which I think is understandable, but it's not correct. Because we all need to ask for help. It depends what it is, not everyone. Something that we talk a lot about in the church is the idea that we're the body of Christ, and I'm going to read a verse from Corinthians 12:25. So I thought this was quite fitting for what I'm going to try and talk about in a minute. So it's the verse: that there may be no division in the body, but that the members may have the same care for one another. That can be taken in several different ways, and I usually use this in the context of we all have different talents, so that's why we have to have the same care for each other out of respect. I'm not great at social things for the most part. I struggle a lot with talking to people, for one, that I'm not overly close with, which I hate, to be honest. I hate that about myself, because I just, it isn't very healthy for me. I like talking to people, I like getting to know people, but I'm not very good at it. I try, but that's the problem, is I try, but it's not always good enough. And that's not on anyone but me. And if anything's happened during this lockdown, it's made me realise that this is something I really want to work on when everything goes back to normal, because I know it's not going back to normal straight away, but you get what I mean. It's something that I really need to work on. But there are people in my church, for example, who are fantastic at that, and it's a real blessing to have them, where they can do something that I can't, and there's probably something that I can do that they can't, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I also take this verse in that the members may have the same care for one another, as we need to look after each other as we look after ourselves. And I know I know about the verse, obviously, where Jesus says, love each other as yourself. But I think we also need to look after each other. You know, if we're meant to be the body, you don't don't get like a cut in your arm and then try and amputate the other one or something stupid like that, do you? You know, it's meant to be a case of we are the body, we are one, we are united in this, and we're going to struggle, because that's just life, isn't it? Unfortunately, there are going to be hard times. There are going to be times where we don't feel like waking up in the morning. There's going to be times where we don't feel like there's anything worth fighting for, despite the fact we know that's true. That's the interesting thing I find about things like depression, is it's not a logical response, I don't think. I don't think it's a case of not thinking about the good things you have. It's a case of the darkness just being so overwhelming sometimes that it kind of drowns out all the positive thoughts. Like, you can be having the best day in the world, and then just like that, it kind of just sinks. And we need to be able to talk about that. I still struggle with it. That's one of the reasons I make these, is I make these just as much for me as I do for anyone else, because it's hard for me to talk about these things. I think it's very important to, and I like having these conversations, not necessarily because they're nice as such, but because they're important. And if anyone can, be blessed by the fact that I'm talking about my journey of mental health, because it is a journey. There is no start and end point, really. It's a journey. It's a continuous process, the same way our lives are a journey. And we need to be willing to talk to each other about it. Like, there's no point getting all boxed up and not being able to talk about it and just being stuck inside your own head, because it doesn't help. You might think it's helping because it's understandable to think it's helping. It's understandable to do that and go, I'm not putting that burden on anyone else. But it's not healthy for you, and you're just as important. And I don't know who needs to hear that. I don't know who needs to hear any of this, but you are just as important. You need to worry about yourself as well, and people care about you. It's hard, sometimes it's hard to believe, even though there are people there that love you, it's hard to believe that people actually care. But they do. They really do. You might not see it all the time, because sometimes when you're in that sort of mindset, you can just kind of blank out all the good stuff and all the people who are genuinely trying to look out for you. But that's the thing, isn't it? It's a journey. It's always going to be a journey, and when you're a part of a church like I am, which I love my church very dearly. I might not be the best at talking to everyone as much as I want to be, but I do love my church very dearly, and I'm very blessed to have them. But there's always someone who cares about you, even if you don't see it. And I don't know who needs to hear that, but I just want that to be a real focus of this particular video. Is 1, it's okay to talk about things, it's not a sign of weakness. 2, you are loved, despite the fact you might not believe it, it doesn't make it any less true. And 3, it's just as important to look after yourself as it is to try and look after your friends, because your well-being matters too. And I'm always available. If anyone knows, look, if you're watching this on my socials, just drop me a message. I'm around. I'm especially around for things like this, because I think it's very important. And there have been many people who've been there for me in my times of need. The least I can do is try and be there for someone else. And if not, just drop a comment, tell me how you're doing, because I want this to be a real community thing. This isn't just it's not about me. That's the important thing I want to focus on these sort of videos. Is it's not about me and how great I am, because I'm not. I'm far from it. I am broken. I am sinful. I am all the things that a lot of other people are, because that's me. I'm far from perfect. I don't make these from an air of arrogance. I make them from an air of plea that maybe someone else is going through this with me, because it's hard. it's hard to feel like you're not good enough, despite the fact that's kind of, it's standard, isn't it? I think everyone has those feelings of self-doubt, but it's really hard to put it into an actual sentence and admit it, if that makes sense. So yeah, I've rambled on for a bit. I'm going to keep doing these. I've got some pretty cool stuff lined up in the next couple of weeks. Something in about 2 weeks' time that I'm very much looking forward to, but I'm not going to say too much about it till I've got everything in place for it. But that should be great fun and very interesting if I can get it to go ahead, because I've already set a schedule and I've only been doing these 3 weeks and I've already messed it up twice. So, but I hope this has helped. I hope I'm not just rambling into the ether like I do, because I have a habit of that, if you couldn't tell. This should have taken 5 minutes, it's now 11 minutes long. But I want to end with a prayer before I sign off. But thank you, Lord, for bringing us together today. Thank you that even though we're struggling, we're not alone. We may not know the people around us, or know that the people around us care about us, but they definitely do, Lord. Despite what these nagging feelings in the back of our head tells us, it's not always true. In fact, it's very rarely true, Lord. And we know, as a matter of fact, that you are there for us. You are with us, and you won't leave us. We're never truly alone, because you're always with us, God. I pray that you bless us in the coming weeks, and that if we're going through that sort of time of struggle with our mental health and that sort of thing, Lord, that you would really be with us in that, and you'd remind us we're not alone, and you'd give us a person to vent to, or whatever we need at that time, Lord. Be with us in the coming weeks and make us better tomorrow than we've been today. Amen. So thank you again for watching. I'm going to try and cut these down, because eventually I'm going to learn to edit, but not yet. But thank you for watching. I hope this has been at least somewhat helpful, if not anything else. And yeah, God bless.